Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for the stay.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is a robot with countless irrelevant menu options. Which is why with USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable, all at the touch of a button. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. And thing sucks.
Yeah, the whole thing sucks. Just right. Let's go ahead and we just gonna get right into it. Raw dog the conversation as I love to do. So, if you're following the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel, you have seen that we've had our schedule breakdown with record predictions. Dave, I am an avid follower of the
Vikings first and Skull.
There you go. Yeah. I have definitely seen I've seen the last Real 4-0 show. I've seen 2 old bloggers. So I've got you all's record prediction and how you feel about the schedule for the 2025 season. But my guys, Vikings. My guys from Detroit, the Lions content creators from Bleachers to Speakers. I got to get you guys on record. So let's go ahead and finish up all of our record conversation. Where do you all see Detroit coming in 2025?
You talking about wins, losses?
Exactly. Wins and losses, record prediction.
If everybody stays healthy.
As of now, well, let me put the disclaimer out there, Dave. Thank you for that. As of now, May 21st, how you see the teams, and this is basically how you left last season, right? Mm-hmm. And how you assume your off-season changes will meld into the product, and it's always going to meld into a positive direction, right? We never assume the negative until the negative slaps us in the face. Shout out to Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears. So with that filibuster and that leeway, Detroit, how you all feeling?
I'm feeling 11-6, 12-5-ish type thing, same as I did last year.
So Foster.
Yeah. So the number that came across my head was 12-5.
Yeah, I think we all got a 12-5 vibe, right, Dave?
No, we're going 13-4, win the division, baby.
Oh, well, all right. Because over here at Frustrated Chicago, we had, from our 3 guys that I have doing Bears, me included, we all ran the gamut. We got Tiff, she's got us at 10-7. I got us at I split the baby. I got us at 11 and or 12, and Q was right there at 11. The reason why I had 11 and or 12 or 12 is dependent on how that last game goes, because I do think there's going to be some pulling of players from Detroit and Chicago side. So you never know how that's going to play out. But I'm easily want to say 11. I probably want to say at 10. Again, this is at May 21st. So, and we're always a lot more positive about where we're going to be at in May. Now, speaking of May, the OTAs schedule has finally started. We are finally starting to get these guys back on the field, even though right now it's shorts, and you always look great in shorts. When is the OTA start in Detroit?
I want to say next week, but I'm not 100% sure.
What about Minnesota?
27th.
27th. The Bears have already started their OTA. I think today's day 2. And for the most part, for those that are unaware, you have 3 phases for OTAs. You have basically the first phase, which we're in now, meet and greet, some light conditioning, nothing too heavy. All right, you get a little install, and that's pretty much it for about a week. The second phase is more on field stuff, and the third is basically a mini camp. As you all, and if you've been watching football for the last 5 years, all this stuff is the stuff that Aaron Rodgers avoids. You got that date there, Foster?
The 28th.
28th. All right. So you all in Minnesota kicking off. I think most of the NFL is kicking off around that same time. So now that that's out the way, there is some things pressing. We did have the league meetings, the second owner meetings for the offseason did start yesterday. A couple of things got brought back to the table. The Detroit Lions have brought up in the initial league meetings that they want to reseed the playoffs starting at the second round, right? Based on records. Am I remembering that correct? They got tabled.
Yes.
They got tabled and they redid the proposal, if I'm not mistaken. Was that voted on today, or did they pull that?
They pulled it at the last minute.
Why? Did you hear why?
The reason was they want to run scenarios and discuss it further. Look for it to happen eventually, especially when you think of the NFL going to 18 games, that they want to have it more equitable. So they look for that to happen. Plus, with having seeding in play, what they worry about is those week 17 and 18 games meaning something, having teams playing for something, because the division may be already, resolved, but if you're playing for seeding, then you have more motivation. They talked about last season, there was 9 teams that rested starters on the last week in week 18. And that was
terrible week 18.
Except for the Lions-Vikings game, which was one of the top 5, I think it was, watch games all last season. There was stuff on the line for that game. And they want more things on the line. If you're playing for seeding, then they suspect that you'll play harder. And it's all about bringing eyeballs to the screen, and it will eventually kill the divisions, unfortunately.
It's not all about just bringing eyeballs to the screen, but it's going in that direction, Dave. Mm-hmm. It's all about the dollar. The NFL don't do anything else if it ain't about the dollar, right? The owners do not want to give up a chance to host, the plan to host a playoff game. That's big bucks. Detroit, Bleachers to Speakers, June Foster, do you all have any issue with your team pulling back their proposal, or did you care about a proposal at all?
At first I understood the reasoning, and then I think we talked about it before. I think the big thing was you had a team like Minnesota that went 14-3 and had to go visit in a wild card, and being a part of the toughest division in football, and they have to go on the road first round. But I understand why they pulled it. I mean, this doesn't happen that often to change the rules. So I can understand why they pulled it.
I think, before I go to the next thing that the NFC related with the the owners meetings, Dave, you did got my light bulb bumping off on the top of my head. Future rules is going to that we can probably see happening in the near future. One, and we talked about this money. There's going to be more international games.
Yes, there will. Next year, there's Australia, and who else is added? There's some other country added as well.
Probably Mars. Thanks, Elon. Yeah, he's gonna put us all on Starlink and have us going up there to play games on Mars. But Dave, there's as you all see, anything that the NFL creates, it becomes a part of the media package, and they sell it to whomever, Netflix or whoever the case. The international games, it's already been speculation some time ago. They're going to package all that up and sell it to somebody that probably got X'd out of these last negotiations. And that's going to be even lots and lots of more money, and it's probably going to come out of our pocket, because I could see it become pay-per-view at some point.
Man.
Oh, they've talked about a la carte. If you could, buy the games you want. That was the whole lawsuit against DirecTV. And the possibility of making it a la carte. If you want to buy all the Chicago Bears games, you could do that. You don't have to watch the whole NFL. If you want to watch, the whole NFC North, there's a package for that. But we'll see if it ever happens. I don't know. They want to sell you everything.
And Dave, you hit it right there. They want to sell you everything. What's stopping them from just saying, you know what? Super Bowl, $69.99 per house.
I can see that.
I don't see that, but
you can't see it. You can't see it because you don't want to pay for it.
I don't want to pay it, but I could. They could make some money.
Now they're still talking about eyeballs, because how they make money is the eyeballs through advertising.
Yes, yeah. And you cannot justify you can estimate the amount of people that are gonna watch it, but it's a guaranteed blank check that they'll pay, knowing that any and everybody has access to it, and it's too limited when you start throwing out wild numbers. Like,
do you think the Super Bowl, you'll ever see the Super Bowl on Netflix?
We could see that. Yeah, you could definitely see that.
Listen, you got Christmas. We didn't think we was ever going to have Christmas games of football, at least a yearly thing of Christmas games, right? Because we understood that there was an unwritten rule that the past NBA got Christmas. NFL said, nah, every day on the calendar is for us.
That's
so
right.
I don't. We own the whole sports calendar as once Labor Day crosses, right?
Hey, the draft got more viewership than the NBA playoffs.
That the NFL's big business, and to that point, I can never discount or never think that they won't go to the lowest common denominator to get every dollar they could. Fossil, you said advertising dollars? Nah. If the NFL is going to get 10 million viewers, 10 million by $69.99, that's a check.
Yeah. I could see it.
Yeah.
I could see it because of the money. The money generated from those pay-per-views.
They've got away. What's the too much point?
Well, Mark Cuban did say, what was it, 10 years ago? By the way, all-time terrible take, because it's never happening, Mark. I'm sorry. But he did say at some point pigs get too fat and they get slaughtered, right? He was talking about the NFL. This is back when they started putting games on Thursday. And he was saying this would be at some point it's too much football and people are going to turn off.
Yeah.
Mark, it's been 10 years. We're still waiting on you to be right on that one, but it ain't happening.
Now, there was a 2% drop in viewership last year. I don't know if you listened to Kevin on his show, but he referenced a story and sent me the story, and sure enough, there was a 2% drop. And the reason for that was no interesting games or very few interesting games at the end of the season. It was a scheduling issue and predicting who will be, competing there down in week 17 and week 18, which brings us back to seeding for the playoffs and that being a motivator.
Don't you think that was more so of I don't want to say random, but it's an outlier? Because me, speaking for somebody like myself,
the viewership,
I know you
down? Yes.
I think it's you. I know you all have seen that meme or that graphic of someone saying, calculating how much you have to spend to watch every game. It was about $1,500 for those that haven't seen it. I watch every game. I don't spend that type of money, but that's not the point of this conversation. I have NFL Plus. I have the Sunday Ticket. I have all the avenues to I don't ever miss a game, right?
Yeah, CBS.
The reason, with one a year TV, right? But then last year, and a lot of this is for gambling and fantasy purposes. Let me just put that out there. I'm a degenerate. Last year was the first time in I don't know how long I just said, I'm not watching this. I wouldn't do something else because I plan my day around football. If I'm gonna spend that type of money, I got 3 TVs up in the crib. I'm watching ball. But week 18, I'm saying I'm not watching none of this because it was. I think at one point last year we had 6 or 7 teams with 2 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I can understand the person turning it off because I did. I said I'm not watching this. I'm about to go. I'm finna bend the block and do something. It's something more interesting to do in January than to watch this right now. I don't need to see that. I come back and watch the Vikings and the Lions at night. But that explains if that was the reason why viewership was down, Dave. I totally see it. Also, too much Packers on national TV. No, that's definitely gonna turn it off. It definitely turn it off. Shout out to the Quad Father checking in. Speaking of the Packers, I'm a segue god. There were a
transition that was really good.
There, appreciate it. There was another rule that was brought to the table. This league meeting, this new league meeting, right? Another one from the NFC North. Those Packers wanted to outlaw tush push. Dave, you was the first one with it in our chat. Tell everybody what happened.
Well, it turns out, not Travis Kelce, his brother,
Jason
Kelce came up, was asked to do a presentation, and he supposedly did a very convincing one that it was a safe play, it was a legit play. All of this versus what the original owner safety group said, no, it's not safe. There's potential for injury by the way bodies are shaped and masked and the whole works. But Kelce's presentation swayed just enough teams that when they went back in the private owners meeting to vote on it, it failed. It failed 22-10, and it's required to get 2/3 votes, which is 24 to pass. And that 22-10 number sounds real familiar.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you remember when the Green Bay Packers took on the Philadelphia Eagles in the playoffs last year, what did they lose by? What was the final score?
22-10, maybe.
22-10.
But dunking on the Packers is something we all love to do. Like they're the redheaded stepchild of the division. Well, at least not the redheaded stepchild. There's the Cinderella. They're the ones that no one likes. But 22 votes and you need 24. That's dangerously close there, Dave. June, is there at some point do you think this is going to get outlawed?
It was really close to being that today or whatever it was. So I don't know. I think if it's a continued success, it could very well change.
Depends on how good the Eagles continue to.
Thank you. There it is. There it is. It depends if the Eagles fans continue to win, and Eagles fans continue to be Eagles fans, it's getting outlawed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do you know who the team was most successful at it last year?
Who?
The Eagles had a 78% success rate. The Buffalo Bills had an 87% success rate.
Allen's a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And as the Eagles said, they didn't even run it a lot of times. They just ran a straight sneak with nobody pushing.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Eagles. Thank you, Dave. Another segue guy. The Eagles say they don't necessarily care if you like it or don't like it. Because it ain't gonna stop it ain't stopping no motion of how they get down on their side of the team, on their side of the field.
Yeah, I don't have any thoughts on it. I think it's only 1 yard.
But they're rolling the push.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we just do it without no push then. As in terms of them banning the tush push, I hate that name, so I hope they do ban it. It's a stupid name. But I can't control that. We can't control it, so we don't even worry about that. Right now, we're just installing our schemes. Whatever KP is installing that day, that's what we're focused on. Because worrying about if they're going to ban the tush push or not ain't going to win us another championship.
That was really good, Pay. Like, that was Chef's.
I don't like his attitude, though.
Chef's Kiss production by Pay.
I tried.
That was good, though. That was good.
So that last thing after my boy was talking about, it doesn't help them win any championships, and word of the vote came in. The Eagles, again, we love a good dunking on the Packers. So honorary for the day. The Eagles are an honorary member of the NFC North because they tweeted out the greatest thing. You saw at the end of that video, they tweeted out a picture of them doing the tush push against the Packers with the caption, "Push on." Cinema, guys. I loved it. But we do think at some point it's definitely going to come down because even though the numbers say that it's not an inherently dangerous play, because playing football is dangerous, right? It doesn't matter what type of movement you're doing. You run the risk of getting hurt just stepping on the field. But when we talked about this earlier with the money aspect, it's not a very interesting play.
Right.
The game used to be, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, right, Dave? We're old enough to remember that. Well, not me, but you are.
You took yourself out of that when you're like, nah.
No, I am.
We remember 3 yards in a cloud of dust, that type of game, and they've pretty much outlawed that. Not as overtly as you would see some things get outlawed, but the game has changed to the point where they definitely did outlaw that type of uninteresting type of play. They want things that's going to keep eyeballs.
Well, it evolved out of it. Back when Earl Campbell was absolutely a beast,
monster,
and running over people, and linemen were big, and they were known for their power, right? It's what helped Dallas, believe it or not. It's, back in the Staubach ages. And it was a thing, but over the time, and especially over this last 10, 15 years, the NFL has evolved to the passing game. They've changed the rules. So, the passer can't get interfered with and blah, blah, blah. And you can't, hurt the quarterback and all this other garbage to make it more offensive friendly. Ask the defenders and how they hit, and you can't hit too hard, you can't target, you can't do this, you can't hip drop, you can't do all these things, and it makes it easier for the offense to score. Why? Because the NFL wants to see high scoring games. Why? Because it brings eyeballs to the TV. Why? It's more chance of back and forth, and thus the gambling, if you want to put that in there, it makes it more of a question mark. versus going out to watch the Chicago Bears and with sweetness running against the Minnesota Vikings, and the final score ends up being 7-3 because it's a defensive fest, right? They want more offense. They want 45-52, and it comes down to the last minute. That's why it's changed. Now, with the tush push coming back, you're going to have to get some big round bellies at nose tackle. That's going to be the only way I can see that you have a chance of stopping it. You're going to see those big 300, 350 guys at nose that are just a pure fire plug, the sumo wrestler that doesn't move when he gets hit. But
Gilbert Brown.
Yeah, there's a brilliant prime example.
Mm-hmm.
And Vikings have had a few. But you're going to have to find those guys to stop it if it becomes an effective tool within your division, because always the first priority is win your division. If the division goes that way, and the NFC East obviously has, and the AFC East obviously has with teams like that, they're going to be the first ones to get those guys to stop them. And the Giants and the NFC East got sexy Dexy for that purpose. It is, the game evolves. We'll see. Now, do I think it'll eventually get phased out? You betcha. Why? Because assisting a player, whether pushing or pulling, was illegal for most of football.
Yeah, truly.
And they're eventually going to go back to that. Now, if it's just Jalen Hurts sneaking on his own behind his offensive line, well, cool. That's fine. Those are those guys, the big guys being, mano against the defensive line, and we're going to move you.
Jalen Hurts did. He decided not to comment on the likelihood of the tush push. Not the likelihood, but the possibility of the tush push being outlawed, unlike his teammates that you saw just a minute ago. He said, as you know, he is the biggest benefactor of it. He said, no comment. Jalen Hurts has had a lot of no comments lately. Smart for him. Smart on him. Don't get trolled, Jalen. Smart on you. So
Dennis in the chat's talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, high scoring games bring in the casual fans, right? And the NFL don't care about us. I'm gonna just put that out there. They already know they got us. It's the casuals they need, and and to bring it all back full circle. When I said more international games, those are the fans over there. Those are the ones that are casual because they don't necessarily follow the games to the way that we do. At least because how can they watch whatever without paying an exorbitant amount? So those are considered casuals right now. So you keep bringing games over there and you keep giving them something that's fast paced. That's how you get them in. I mean, I never watched hockey until they started pulling back some of that fighting and then, that rugby on ice stuff. It became more fast paced. And to that point, like, oh, I can get into this. The other rule change out there. Well, I don't know if you would say it's a rule change. And this, again, from international play, you're going to see NFL players playing in the Olympics.
Flag football, LA 2028.
Yeah. So there does come with some stipulations, though. Only one player per team. And I think it's a team of 10, if I'm not mistaken. Something like that.
We don't know anything about that.
It's
guaranteed.
There's a lot to be hammered out. It's not going to be 53 man's roster because there's no reason for round bellies, Dave. Calm down. No reason for the round bellies. There's no reason for a linebacker. I'm sorry. Chicago Bears fans love their linebackers. No, you're not sending none of those guys to LA. So don't even try it. This is strictly for guys like Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra Brown,
Jahmyr Gibbs.
This is just for those type of guys. But I have a question. since you can only send one player per team, Amar St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs want to go. Who you sending?
Neither.
Yeah. If I had, I would say neither. No risk. Neither. Why risk it? But I mean, I guess
it'll work until somebody blows out their knee.
That's my thought.
You remember Edward from the Patriots? Dave, he was on the Patriots back in the day. He played for the Pro Bowl. They had the rookie flag football, and he was an All-Pro. I think he was like in his first year or second year. He was really good and tore his knee and had all kind of nerve damage. Never played football again.
Yep,
it was like that.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's one of those things that could have happened playing catch.
Yeah, for sure
at the beach, but that's the worst case scenario that it's like it's not worth it. It's not a prestigious. It's not like the World Baseball Classic or Olympic basketball, flag football. I mean, they say football is nearly flag football now, anyways. But do we really care about that?
The players do. Justin Jefferson spoke on it, and he said he has always dreamed of getting a gold medal because he watched USA basketball do it and everything else. And he goes, I chose football, so I'd never have a chance. Now I have a chance.
You'll be all right, bud.
Justin's very animated about this subject.
Yeah, I don't know why. Anyway,
we'll talk about him a lot in the next segment. We got a question here from Tim Lyons. Shout out to him. Why do they call a play dead when they are bunched up and pushing down the field? I don't know if that's a rugby. Are you talking about rugby?
Nah, well, I'm sure the forward progress rule that prevents injury, right? Doesn't that prevent injury?
Yeah, it's supposed to. It's once you're, the ref can call a play dead after so much. After, I don't even know how to explain it, but
their momentum is pushed back.
Yeah,
because you don't lose yards the more you stay up.
Yeah, I think if you're continuing to move forward, they're not going to blow the whistle.
Yeah, because sometimes
we've
people
seen
fumble.
the foul be pushed.
Right.
And I think forward progress wasn't for injury. It was, to actually prevent a person from losing yards after they've already progressed. So let's say you get in a bunch and your momentum stops and you get pushed back. They want to mark it where you stopped in forward progress.
A smart way to play football. Yeah, unless you're going to just drag a guy back 15 yards. Come on now.
In the backyard, that's what used to happen. Like when you're playing at home, pick them up sometimes and carry them back.
Or in the neighborhood. We'd all gather down at the baseball diamond or local park, and we'd have games.
Lions, what is this?
If you're watching live, we'll be right back after this little break. We do have to satisfy our ad commitment on the audio side, but we'll be right back. We'll talk about some more NFC North predictions, news, and play a little game of stockbroker. So do not move anywhere because it will not be too long. All right, I want to come right back to that live comment that we just saw. So, a boy, Broski Bear, he's opened up the floor for us to defend our teams. First comment. I didn't want to have to defend the Bears today, but if we must. Broski Bear, 0 playoff wins for the Vikings under KOC in 3 seasons. Starting QBs under KOC, Cousins, Dobbs, Mullins, Hall, Darnold, and now it's McCarthy and Howell. QB situation still unresolved. Dave, in your hottest, quickest take, what do you say to that about the QB situation still being unresolved?
Well, first off, it is resolved. It's going to be J.J. McCarthy. He's the starter. It's unquestioned now. The first year you had Cousins, and Cousins was going to be it, and he got a 13-win record. Second year, it was Cousins, and Cousins was going to be that until week, 8? And pop goes the Achilles. And then you had that whole slew of Mullins and the Pasternaut and everybody else. Then the next year, we brought in, last year, Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold was going to be a battle, but most likely would start. And then, of course, J.J. McCarthy had the torn meniscus and was out for the season. So was Sam Darnold all year. It's pretty. I see it as pretty settled. I mean, we knew who was going to be the starting quarterback. And the reason we got rid of Cousins was for monetary reasons. And because it's time to get younger and find our franchise quarterback. And so we did. I'm quite pleased on that. Now, the whole idea of KOC having 0 playoff wins, yes, that's a little bit of a sticking point. And he's got to get beyond that this season.
I think fourth year's the charm, right, Dave? It all depends on who you see and when you see them in that first round. But I agree, it is a sticking point.
He's the quickest to total wins after 3 seasons out of any coach in our history, and that includes the legendary Bud Grant and Dennis Green. Even Mike Zimmer. I mean, it's just he by far has stood out. It's just the winning the playoffs, but it sometimes takes a while.
I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day. Lions, Broski Bear did have smoke for you guys as well.
What did Brenda Bear have to say?
Lions, poverty. I think he could have just put a period by that and just left it alone. But 3 playoff wins in the last 6 seasons. Barry walked away. Megatron never won a playoff game. 0-16 season. Shout out to you guys, though. Before you even say anything, excellent dismount. That is the pettiest dismount I have ever seen on one of these shows. I'm clapping it up for Broski just for that dismount. I loved it. But what do you all have to say about the rest of the comment?
Well, shout out to Brenda. With all that being said, the Bears are still wishing they have a season.
This ain't about the Bears. This ain't about the Bears.
Oh, well, that was about the Lions. This is about the Bears. With that being said, you're still never mind, bro.
But yes,
ask about the Lions, and then we'll gang up on Pay and talk about the Bears.
Go ahead, June.
No, man, he won't let me talk, bro. You can't say anything about my team and not expect me to fight back.
I'm just saying I got plenty of leeway to get him to the Bears because there's one for him, one for us too. But I mean, if you want to defend your team by bringing up another team,
there's nothing to defend. I mean, that was yesterday.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, those are facts that have nothing to do with what's going on this year or the year before or the year before that.
That succinct. I like not June. B. Foster. Do you have anything else to say about that one?
Yeah, we all we all know the past and the legends, the Barry Sanders. I mean, you can't take away where they played, regardless of the misfortune that was their playoff history. But what makes us fans is the present day. I mean, we don't dwell in the past. I mean, we're here for the upcoming and future, and as long as the teams exist, we have something to live for. So factual information, but we still here and doing pretty well, if I don't say so.
Every fans dwelling in the past, have you ever met a Packers fan?
I have none that will do the show, unfortunately. But
how many championships?
I know plenty of Packers fans that do you
at a drop of a hat.
You said what?
I said, how many championships do they have? They'll tell you at a drop of a hat. All you got to do is say hi.
Right. Don't ask.
Well, there you go. There's a reason why you don't say hi to them. Just don't even start the conversation. Let's keep it moving.
But the Bears, when you talk about the Bears, all they talk about is 1985.
Well, that is a thing we do in Chicago, right? We talk about 1985
and now the Pope.
And the Pope. The Pope, 1985, and not putting ketchup on your hot dog.
I mean, it's just like the Bulls fan. They ain't won nothing since Jordan left, but they still high on the Bulls.
True.
In spurts, anyways. Yeah.
They haven't won nothing since Jordan left, bro.
No. I agree.
So we don't dwell on it. You still want your team to do well, and you still shout out to the Bulls and the Bears, though.
Yeah, shout out to the Bulls and Bears. Speaking of the Bears, here's my comment here for the Bears. And Tim Lyons, I know you think I forgot about you. Tim wants to know, how was the locker room in Chicago after Precious from USC? Precious is probably pointing towards our quarterback from USC, stated he didn't want to play for the Bears. We don't know how the locker room is because they're not in the locker room at the moment. I would assume, well, OTAs is, again, as we gotta say, OTAs is not mandatory. It's not a real team activities, right? It's more so meet and greet, get a little install and get a little conditioning. It's not necessarily like that. But my opinion is that I would assume that a lot of the locker room was aware of Caleb's and Carl's dissatisfaction with playing for Eberflus and Shane Waldron, and rightfully so, because playing for those guys is not fun whatsoever. They know their stuff. They're great football coaches. They would never made it to that level if they didn't know football. But they were also jabronis. They had no business being at that top of the. They had no business having the reins to a potential franchise quarterback like Caleb Williams. Eberflus should have been fired and shown the door right along with Justin Fields. Shout out to Justin. Shane Waldron should have never been hired from Seattle. They should have left him over there. Those aren't the guys that you wanted. You saw how Justin had his infatuation with KLC, and why not? KLC's done great things with quarterbacks. KLC seems to be a quarterback wizard. So, of course, a quarterback is going to gravitate towards somebody with that type of magnanimous personality for football. And shout out to, again, Dave and Real 4-0 Show and Two Old Bloggers. I did see the episodes. You all had a lot to say on the conversation. I know it made you all a little what's the word? Engorged, so to speak.
Yes. It was fun to see, and it's going to last, like I said, through at least week one.
It's definitely going to be fodder headed up to week one when the Bears play Minnesota Vikings. But I want to tamper down some of the masturbatory conversation that's coming out of Minnesota. Yes, Caleb, prior to being drafted by the Bears, was infatuated with playing
by the Bears.
Well, it too, and after, you're right. Prior to Caleb being drafted by the Bears, he had an infatuation. You even call it a professional love affair with KLC. That's fine. Everybody can do. There's nothing wrong with that. After the such, he came in, bear down, but still didn't like his boss. I have worked plenty of jobs where I didn't like my boss. I've worked plenty of jobs. I'm sure you all have done the same. Worked plenty of jobs where I thought I was smarter than my boss. Like, I know this better than what you got going on. And Caleb was right. He was, for the time being, his bosses were stupid. But now he's got better job. Now he's got better guys in the building. Now we're gonna see how that shakes out. So until otherwise is proven, we gonna roll with Caleb on this one.
The Bears.
That's right. Bear down.
Until the contract is over, at least.
And
Yeah,
John,
and
let me
here's
come back.
the
Let me come back to that. You guys, this is the NFL. You can't name me one guy that walks after their deal is up because you can't. In the NBA, you can do that, but in the NFL, if the team wants you, you ain't going nowhere.
That's a matter of money, but no, there have been players that have left at the end of their contract.
Name me the quarterback.
You're delusional right now.
Name me the quarterback. I'll wait.
Well, I have to research it because it's rare, but I'm sure it happens.
It's rare enough to just call it an outlier, and it doesn't happen. I give you one name, Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins. He exhausted all of his what do you call those?
No, with Washington,
franchise tags. He exhausted all of his tags. All right, but that was more so of a team than one. Yeah, that was more so of a team than wanting him than him wanting to be on the squad. It don't happen. We've seen players be disgruntled.
The Jets were going to pay him more.
Say it again, Dave.
He took less money because the Jets were going to pay him more to come to Minnesota.
Who?
Kirk.
Oh, Kirk. Yeah.
He's in the
but yeah, I'm not certain. I'm not even really thinking about 4 or 5 years down the line right now. I'm more focused on making sure year 2 is fantastic. All right, so now we've made it to the 45-minute mark. Let's play our game. We're gonna play Stock Broker NFL.
Caleb's out of there.
No. So I saw this segment on one of our on another show. I won't go say their name, but it sort of goes like this. If you were buying stock in a player, and I'm going to just put it out there, a young player, because why would you buy stock in an older player? If you were buying stock, who would that player be? And I'm going to start with our baseball guys here. I'm going to start with Detroit, because you guys are Detroit sports is up right now. Jahmyr Gibbs or Screwball?
Oh,
B. Foster.
You are wrong.
If you're buying stock, if you're buying stock in if you had to buy stock, if you only pick one, who would that player be?
Buying stock.
Do you mean as far as like who you believe in?
Yeah.
More so it's buying stock.
That would be buying stocks. Yeah, I believe in this. I believe in this blue chip Walmart stock. Well, not Walmart.
There's a couple of ways you can look at that. But go ahead.
That's a terrible example I just used.
I know what you're saying.
You should not buy Walmart stock right now. But anyway, if you wanted to buy blue, blue stock in Tesla or whoever, again, terrible example. But
Apple. Microsoft.
Apple,
they're working in the garage.
If you wanted to buy, you can buy stock on something that you've heard. You think this stock over here, fill in the blank, is going to take off, and like AMC, so to speak. If you think that stock is going to take off, or you want to get the safe pick, or you think something that's more steady, like an Apple, like you said, that's the name of this game here. All right, we filibustered long enough, B. Foster.
Yeah, so I mean, it's two different. They're both guys that play positions that have very volatile. I mean, a guy can, not to speak anything into existence, but they both play positions where they could get injured tomorrow and miss significant time. But I think in the case of Scooble, if we had a blank check, of course, because he's a Scott Boras guy and is going to go to the highest bidder at the end of the day. I think I would go with Scooble because he's not just a hard throwing pitcher. He's a left-handed hard throwing pitcher. And was the undisputed best pitcher last year. He won the Triple Crown as far as the lowest ERA, most strikeouts, and most wins, I think it is. But so he's pretty, undisputed the best player right now. And I think I would buy that more so than Jahmyr Gibbs, although Jahmyr Gibbs is a very electrifying running back.
Dave, your quarterback, say his name.
Say again, I hit the wrong button.
Your quarterback, say his name.
JJ McCarthy.
Would you prefer to buy stock in Mr. McCarthy or the right fielder for the Minnesota Twins, Matt Wallner?
Come on, bro.
I care less about baseball, so it's gonna be JJ.
You know what? I'll raise you. I'll raise you.
That Byron Buxton or something?
JJ McCarthy or Anthony Edwards.
I'm still going JJ.
Oh, that's crazy.
The question is, hey, as much as my Minnesota fans love the Timberwolves and love the Twins and love the Wild, right? And watching it, and I'm casually interested. And the whole idea that we as Wolves fans can actually win the title this year before the Minnesota Vikings. It's going to be interesting. But as I've told everybody, I'm just solely football. That's my primary deal. And what reigns in Minnesota, hey, the Twins won the World Series back in the late 80s and early 90s. Won 2 of them. They're the only men's of the Big Four team to ever win a national championship, but they won it. But it's the Minnesota Vikings that dominates the state. We talked about the NFL being 365. It's going to play on Christmas. It already plays on Thanksgiving. I mean, the whole thing. Now, if Ant takes the Wolves and wins the championship, great. I'm happy. But for a long-term investment, it's J.J. McCarthy all day long.
JJ might be older than Ant Edwards.
JJ's 22.
No.
Okay, Ant's 23 though. He's like right there. He's been in the league.
He's not older though.
Hey,
well, I'm just saying that, like, as far as trajectory, he's going to play basketball for another 20 years. I mean, that's okay, not 20 years. But
I know. Now with the amount of kids he got, no, he's not going.
He's going to need to keep making that money though.
10 years. Ahead, let him compare rings together. That what just means that Minnesota's winning. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, JJ.
But I'm going JJ McCarthy. That's where I'm putting my money.
But yeah.
All right. It's not a bad investment there, Dave. June, your boy, J-Mo. You buying stock in J-Mo or putting your money with Jaden Ivey?
J-Mo. J-Mo. I'm putting my stock in J-Mo.
That's a volatile stock. It's like Bitcoin, June. Why are you putting your money with?
Well, I don't have a lot of money and I can risk it. I'm not going to wind up putting a bunch on it. You know, $2.
That's $2. Okay,
that's an interesting.
That's a really crazy one right there.
Because they both
was easier.
They both might have the same.
Yeah, it's
shelf life left. Like.
Yeah. Especially they were trying to ship, see what they can get for Ivy and J.
Well, we don't know that.
Well, there was some speculation and talk. That's a tough one though. But I'm gonna say James.
I do think James, Jameson was on that trade block, but I do think his talent ceiling might be a little higher than Jaden Ivey's. But I think if Jaden Ivey is healthy, just preface that, if he's healthy, I think he's more steady. I think that stock, I think how that stock is going to perform. J-Mo, he can go to the moon, also can crash.
You think that I wouldn't even say that. Well,
he can go to the moon, but he might get caught with a gun on the way there.
Yeah, I mean, they both suffered a serious injury, a pretty comparable serious injury, so they're kind of even in that regards. But I think Ivy's more of I don't think you have to worry as much about suspensions, character, yada yada yada. I think he's pretty safe in that regards.
Well, if you look at it like this, though, Foster, you got Jameson who had 1,000-yard receiving season. We're still waiting for Ivy to show us something.
I think he had, I mean, the 2 healthy years he had, I think he averaged, 15, 16 points? Not terrible.
Not terrible, but at the same time, you're at the edge of your seat watching J-Mo, and you know what he can do. It's like there's been a lot of, excitement instead of wondering opposed to Ivy.
I wish he would have played this year because I think that would have been because the first 2 years, obviously, the teams were tanking and losing, 60 plus games. So J-Mo has had the benefit of going to the playoffs every year since he started.
Yeah.
Last 2 years. Yeah.
And in the first year, he didn't really play. And I think we finished 9-7 or something like that. So much more of a base to work off of. I'll say that for sure.
Yeah. So you don't even like hockey there, Dave?
Wow, I enjoy it, but I'm not a avid fan of any team.
It's Vikings, man. It's Vikings or nothing.
It's Vikings.
Dave.
Who gets the most viewership?
Between the Vikings and the Minnesota Wild?
Between pick any NFL team and their associated hockey, basketball, or baseball team.
Only one I can think of is maybe the Yankees over the Giants.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's
that Subway series. Something about that Subway series, though.
Well, I mean, we're gonna go I don't want to go too deep in the weeds about that one, but Dave, I was going to hit you with a Matt Boldy, but you're gonna ruin the game for us. But all right. So as I said, we have a full Caleb discussion, 25-minute discussion in our last episode over at the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel. I put the link in the description. You can check it out there if you wanted any more Caleb talk. That is my plug. Bleachers to Speakers. You all seem very knowledgeable about what's going on with the Detroit Tigers and Detroit Pistons. Where are you all pushing out that content at, and where can anybody find you?
You can find us on Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube, and anywhere you can listen to a podcast, you can find us at Bleachers to Speakers FFSN. Make sure you're following. Make sure that notification bell is on, so when we drop content, you'll be able to you'll get an alert and download those episodes. And shout out to you, Pay, for that wonderful Frontline apparel shirt you have on. You can get that from B. Foster. If you can get with Pay, you can find B. Foster. So shout out to you for that shirt.
It's great quality. I love this shirt. I need to get some more. But everybody.
Got them in Bears colors too, man. We got them in Bears colors too.
Oh, we're going to have to talk. So everybody, I appreciate you watching. We had a good 45 people watching at one point. If you like this program, like what we got for you, check out Bleachers to Speakers. They will be the front host next week on their YouTube channel. Same bat time, same bat channel. But not to be belittled there. Dave, Minnesota Vikings. I did reference the Real 4-0 show, 2 old bloggers, Soldiers and Spice. I'm sorry. I love watching. It's in my rotation. Good. Everything is going on over there. For everybody else interested in the good stuff happening with the but the Minnesota Vikings, not Minnesota anything else, just the Vikings. Where can they holler at you at?
They can catch us at Vikings First and Skull. We're on YouTube. We're on podcasts. Anywhere you get a podcast. And we're also on the written page over at Fans First Sports Network. If you go to fansfirstsports.com and hit Vikings, you'll find all our stuff. You can find us just about everywhere. We even have a Facebook page, and you can find us over on X if you want to chat with us that way. Please join us. Tonight we have the Real Forno show. He's back from his mini vacation, and we're talking about the Vikings draft video that they released. And it's a miracle how every player we got is exactly the player they wanted. I think the public affairs people the video editors did a fantastic job putting that together. And I'm sure it's the same across all 31 teams, including the Lions and the Bears.
I didn't even see the Bears schedule drop video. I was
it was the draft video where they put together all the clips of calling up and getting the players like, oh, I'm on the team.
Those are always
in Chicago.
Because I'm sure Colston and Luther and crew are just hating the weather right now. But I know they're going to enjoy the vibes because Chicago's got that by the bucket.
Cool city.
Bleachers and speakers. What do you all say? Dave, take us home.
Well, first off, we missed one important announcement that came out of the owners' meeting. There is now an award for the big round bellies. It's called the Protector of the Year Award, and it will go to the, quote, best lineman. And I think it's fantastic, and it's well overdue. And in Minnesota, hopefully we have it with Christian Darrisaw. But as we say in Minnesota, Skol Vikings!
Thanks for watching, everybody. Because my co-hosts here, they bring the heat. They bring the heat. But in Chicago, we don't do none of that stuff.
The Bears.
Oh God! Bear down, everyone. Thanks for listening to this latest edition from the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel. Whether you listen to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or watching on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, share with a friend, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a drop. And all my homies from Chicago, we say three things: bear down, go Cubs go, and sell the team, Jerry.